the experiment confirms what Alexander had instinctively understood. Humans have evolved to be influenced by what they see in a face. So effective was his discovery that throughout his rule he continued to refine it. Hundreds of statues were made of his heroic physical presence. Alexander may have had the perfect image, but it was useless unless he could get it circulated to the people who mattered most, his new subjects.
Today, we take it for granted just how easy it is to distribute an image. At the press of a button, you can send a picture to vast numbers of people, almost anywhere in the world. But for Alexander, of course, things weren't so simple. He needed to find a way of giving his subjects a daily reminder of who was in charge. His solution was, quite literally, to put his face in the palm of their hands. This is what he came up with, a face on a coin. He established 30 mints, producing thousands of these throughout his empire, and on each one it had a head closely resembling his own. Alexander had found a powerful way to spread his image throughout the empire. For generations, Alexander's successors would produce coins with his face on them. Any association with Alexander would also give them authority. It was a brilliant idea, and one which leaders ever since have used as a daily reminder to us all of who's in charge. And, of course, the power of the human face continues to shape our political landscape today. By Alexander's time, leaders in the ancient world understood just how susceptible the human mind was to the persuasive power of art. And they'd used images to promote themselves and their message.
But there's a more ruthless type of leader in the modern world who aims to wield the power of images in another way. It's something more ambitious than just self-promotion, something far darker, much more sinister.
It's the power to persuade us to think what they want us to think and to see things the way they do. And even to deceive us.
So how did art go from being a tool of political promotion to being an instrument of mass deception? To find out, we need to discover just how and why imagery was first used to tell a political lie.
That weapon was invented here in Rome. 40 years before the birth of Christ, ancient Rome was on the point of collapse. For decades, a civil war had divided the city. And the city was split not just politically, but culturally too. A split that manifested itself even in people's appearance.
It seems hard to imagine today, but it was as if you could tell everyone's political allegiance simply by seeing how they were dressed.
It would be as if today Rome were divided into two camps, each with their own distinctive uniforms. Suppose one group dressed in an old-fashioned and conservative way. They were the Republicans. They believed that the great traditional Roman families should rule Rome as they had for centuries. They dressed in traditional and austere clothes. And suppose the other group were more like today's trendies. Although it seems strange, this group were monarchists. They wanted to replace the traditional families with a powerful and ostentatious king. They wore more flamboyant clothes to parade these exotic sympathies. These two groups were locked in a struggle for the control of ancient Rome. Neither side was prepared to compromise. It looked like the two tribes would be forever divided.
That was until a new contender appeared on the scene. He was young and he had no great political or military experience, but he was wise to the political potential of images. He would unite Rome, not by the force of an army, but by the power of art. His name, Octavian, or as he would become known, Augustus.
Augustus came from the monarchist camp. Although half of Rome supported him, the Republicans remained deeply suspicious. To win them over, Augustus needed to persuade the Republicans he posed no threat to the power of the traditional families. He had a problem. This was his image, the typical trendy, big-haired look that the monarchists favoured and the Republicans hated. To get their support, Augustus would need to reinvent himself. This is what his artists and sculptors came up with. Something far more humble, hair flattened, the face more gentle and mature. All a lot less threatening.
This was the look that Augustus finally approved. Frowning, serious, humble, a man of the people. A look that was calculated not to antagonize the Republicans. And having created this image, Augustus had it copied. Hundreds and hundreds of copies went out all around the empire.
His strategy began to work. The empire prospered, and with it, his own power and fame. But Rome itself remained tense. The Republicans were still suspicious that he was accumulating power for his own personal ends, and they believed he had plans to sweep the traditional ruling families aside and grab all the power for himself. Augustus feared assassination. To win over his enemies, he needed to come up with an image that would persuade the Republicans once and for all.
This is the Vatican City, not only the centre of the Catholic Church, but also home to one of the greatest collections of Roman art anywhere in the world. And within that collection,